And this is something that I'm really working on this year too, is we all need to minimize the distractions. We need to turn off the noise. There's so much noise and you can't really affect it. You can't change it. There's no point in pouring a lot of energy into that. If you pour that same amount of energy into growing yourself and doing the things you need to do to grow your business, instead of being distracted, instead of getting involved in all of that, make your own noise.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherland Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey, everybody, this is Jeff Sutherland on the Jeff Sutherland Show. I'm so excited you're here today. Boy, we have been busy, haven't we, Chase?
Oh, yeah. We've been busy, man. It's been good. It's been a good start to the year.
Yeah, we are very blessed because we're helping a lot of clients right now. And, despite the high interest rates, a lot of people think it's high, but over the last 50 years, it's really not high. But a lot of people think that it's kind of high, but people are still moving, and life events are causing people to move and use us. And, whether it be death in the family, life transitions to senior care, new jobs, etc. People still have to move in this country. And Phoenix continues to be a hot spot because our labor market's strong. We used to have kind of just a housing economy, and now we're a diversified economy, not just housing, but now we have technology, we have healthcare, engineering, tourism, we have great schools. Of course, U of A is the best school in Tucson. I just had to put that out there.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Jeff. I don't know.
So real quick, Chase, before I introduce our guest today, what's going on in your world? Give us a quick 2-minute.
Well, everything's going good, man. I'm here in actually California visiting some family, but what's beautiful about this business is that we can pretty much work from anywhere. So we're still getting some things done, touching base with clients, reaching out, making connections, planning up this upcoming following week of showings and listing appointments. So it's great, man. We're blessed every day, and we're having another great Friday today. So it's good.
Absolutely, Chase. Thank you. So today, friends, I have a very special guest with us. Not only is she just a top professional in the real estate industry, but she's also one of my best friends. Her name is Cathy Swann, and she is the designated broker of eXp Realty in Arizona. And in layman's terms, that means that she's in charge. She's in charge of a lot of people. In fact, in Arizona, she's in charge of 2,500 eXp realtors, approximately 2,500. And I've had the privilege of knowing Cathy. I couldn't believe this, Cathy. I was counting it. It's like 15 years. 15 years we've known each other. I can't believe it's gone that fast. And she and I met years ago when I brought her over. I recruited her to a company that I co-founded called United Brokers Group. And that's when we developed our friendship. And so we've both seen many markets. And Cathy is really known as a highly skilled broker, very compassionate for her agents, an educator, a teacher, very patient. And her career is catapulted. And it's because of her work ethic. She's a tireless worker. And I could go on, but I want you guys just to get to know her. And there's two types of brokers out there, quite honestly. There's what I would call ivory tower brokers. And these are people that sometimes they've never transacted real estate on their own, and they've learned how to be a broker. But Cathy has transacted hundreds and hundreds of houses, and she was a top agent before she became a broker. So with all these things being said, I just want you to know Cathy gets her hands dirty every day to help us win for our clients. Our clients are also her clients, ultimately. So she gets her hands dirty, and I'm just very blessed to have her as a friend, and she's on the show today. So welcome, Cathy, to our show.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Chase. Great to be here.
So, Cathy, thanks so much. We'd love to get to know you a little bit better. Could you share a little bit of your backstory? I think people deserve to hear it. Success doesn't happen by accident. So can you share, Cathy?
Sure. I mean, I can kind of start where you and I met. So that was 2009. Anybody who was in Arizona in 2009 maybe knows what was going on in the market at that time. It was brutal. It was brutal. So if you were showing buyers, you were showing homes that had the copper wiring and plumbing ripped out, had no AC, sometimes often squatters. Like, these houses were awful. It was a bad time in the Arizona market. It was tough. It was very, very tough. But I came into this company. I had been in another company. I had been in a great market. I'd seen the great market. Now I was working through this like really not great market. The other thing that was happening in my life at that time is my husband had retired from a 20 plus year career in law enforcement, and we had a new baby. So we had 3 kids. The market was in the tank. So my income had been drastically cut because that's what was happening to all the agents in the industry. And then we had a significant cut in my husband's income as he retired. So it was a really, really difficult time for me. I joined a brokerage, like Jeff said, and really surrounded myself by great people and people who just lifted me up. And we all kind of carried each other, I think, through that difficult time. So after 20 years as a solo agent, I was offered an opportunity to become a broker for that same company. And I jumped at the opportunity, but I didn't have an exit strategy. I didn't have an exit strategy for my business and this beautiful database that I had built for all these years. And I was very, very fortunate to be able to hand that to my son and his wife, who at the time were not licensed, but jumped at the opportunity to become licensed agents and jump into the business. And they have carried the torch proudly. Now they're going on 7 years and have carried my clientele as well as built their own. And midway through that, I took the leap from United Brokers Group to EXP. And that was a total leap of faith at the urging of somebody else who might be on this podcast at the time.
That is such a great story. Back to '09, a lot of people say, this is a tough market. And from an affordability standpoint, yeah, I think that's a fair argument. But, back in '09, when Cathy says it was brutal, let me tell you how brutal it was. Out of all of the inventory we had in our company, I would say 90% of it was either a short sale or an REO, which is a bank-owned property. And I can't tell you how many times we were at the closing table with sellers who were distraught, who were crying. It really wore on practitioners of real estate. It really was a difficult time. And so I look at times like this and I'm like, you know what, we can do this. We've been through worse. Is that kind of, what do you think when you think back at '09, Cathy?
It was, yes. I mean, it was. You're sitting across the table with people who were about to lose everything or had lost everything, and just, pouring their heart out to you. And it was such a rough time to be able to really kind of dive in and help those people. And I resisted the short sale market for a while. I thought, I don't want to do that. And then I realized I would be referring all of my business out during that time if I didn't jump in and learn how to do it. So yeah, that was a really tough market. And the prices had plummeted. So not only was the inventory distressed, and not only was there not a lot going on in terms of buyers, if you did sell a house, the price point was 50% of what it was the year prior. So income levels were slashed. I mean, it was tough all the way around all the way around. Now it's tough because we don't have a lot of inventory and interest rates are high and you got a lot of people sitting on the fence. But I haven't sat across the table, except for agents, I haven't sat with a client who's been in tears over having to sell their home. So it is different. It's a different kind of market.
Yeah. So real quick, one last question on that. When you talk about a leap of faith and going to EXP, why EXP? And, what have you experienced since you've been here? Because now you're into this at EXP. Now, what is this your 3rd year now?
Just finished my 3rd year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. So new company, the most producing company on the planet with 355,000 transactions last year in one of the busiest states in the country. So what's that been like?
It's been like being on a rocket ship, pretty much. And the leap of faith was really, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I knew that there were people at this company who I had a tremendous amount of respect for. And I knew how hard it still is, but at the time I knew how hard it was to recruit and retain agents at a company. And here's this company over here that's growing by leaps and bounds. And I thought, they've got to be doing something right. I've got to go see what this is about. The other thing was I spent a lot of time in my career coaching and training other agents. And one of the things that I've always told people is you got to get uncomfortable. If you want to grow, you've got to get uncomfortable. You have to get out of that comfort zone because you don't grow there. And I had this opportunity that was presented to me to get pretty far outside my comfort zone for the sake of growth. And I was like, well, got to walk the walk. This is what I've been trying to tell people. And so I took the leap, and it is like being on a rocket ship. This company moves quickly. This company is on the leading edge of so many things going on in this industry. So it's super exciting to be a part of and to be with the leadership of this company that's really forward thinking.
We're blessed to have you.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. And you said it earlier, Jeff, how patient Cathy is. And I want to just second to that because I know there's a lot of times where I'm popping into the broker room asking a bunch of questions, and she's always very patient and walks me through whatever we're talking about. And so I really appreciate that, Cathy. So I just wanted that to be said.
Awesome.
But as a broker, right? I mean, what does that day-to-day look like for you? What is a broker doing every single day? And what do you like most about being a broker as opposed to just, a regular practicing real estate agent?
So day to day might be a little bit different for me than it is for my team. So I'm the designated broker, and then I have a team of, really 9 managing brokers. 5 of them do nothing but review contracts for compliance, and the other 4 spend their days day in and day out, all day long, working with agents and helping agents on their transactions and issues and questions that come up. So when you come into the broker room, when you talk about coming into the office, literally sitting down with a broker, that's what the team is there for. The team is there 100% of the time just to assist agents. That's what we do as brokers at this company. And it's one of the beautiful things about being a broker here as opposed to another company where you have to wear all the hats. In a smaller company, your broker is not only helping with transactions, but chasing checks and talking to title companies and making sure there's toner in the printer and all the things to run the business. Whereas here, we get to just broker. We get to just work with agents. And that's what I love. That's my love, is being able to guide somebody through a difficult part of the transaction. When I was a practitioner, I loved the part of guiding somebody through the transaction and getting them to the finish line. And now I kind of get to do that vicariously. So when an agent is guiding their clients and hitting an obstacle or having a problem, I can step in without the knot in my stomach, without the emotional part of it, and help them get to the finish line. So the reason that mine is a little bit different is when those things escalate, if we can't solve that problem, if we can't fix it right then and there, and it for some reason escalates into something bigger, maybe it's an ethics complaint, maybe it's a Department of Real Estate complaint, heaven forbid, maybe it's a lawsuit. Those are the things that land on my desk. And I spend a lot of my time doing those types of things to assist our agents and our company to get through that.
Yeah, Cathy, you kind of read my mind, and in my opinion, there's 2 types of brokers out there. There's creative brokers like yourself who've been in the trenches and you've been on the front lines. You've actually represented buyers and sellers and a ton of them as an agent. So when we collaborate with you, you bring creativity and you also bring a yearning to represent our clients to the best of your ability and to the best of our ability. And then there's brokers who've never been in the field, and that's not saying that they can't be good brokers. They can be, but they know the contract, but they may not know some of the little tricks of the trade that you've had because you've been in the field. So to what you just answered, Chase, can you talk to me a little bit more about some of your core skills that really separate you when you're having these really complex transactions? People are coming to you and you're a problem solver. How has your experience over the years helped you to become a great advice giver as a broker?
It's a really good question. I think as an agent, the most important thing is remembering that those people that you're working with are going through one of the most stressful events in their life. Moving is not simple. Buying or selling a home is not simple. It's scary. I remember the first home I bought, I was terrified. I was in tears over something because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't understand it. And I've always tried to keep that kind of at the front of my mind. Like, these people don't do this every day. This is not easy for them. Little things to us that seem normal or expected are scary. And you couple that with the fact that maybe they've got, some other stuff. We all have stuff going on in the background. So those people that we're carrying through this transaction have a lot of stress. And sometimes it comes out in ways that aren't so positive. Sometimes we're the brunt of whatever's going on. But it's probably not about us. And if it is about us, then we're not doing our job. If they're stressed because we're not doing something well, we're not communicating, we're not listening, we're not available, some of those things, then yeah, we got to fix that. But if it's just the inherent level of stress that they're carrying, then it's up to us to offload whatever we can for them. So the fact that I had to do that for so many years and kind of realize that their problems aren't necessarily about me, but I can do a lot to help them with the stress level that those things create. I think that probably carries through to this now because I can convey that to our agents like, hey, maybe the fact that they hung up on you wasn't really about you. Maybe there's something else going on and maybe we need to get to the bottom of that. And at the end of the day, we all want the same thing for these people. We want to help them get to the end, the close of escrow of buying or selling their home. Or maybe they've decided it's not the right thing and maybe you have to support them in that decision. So it's really just that empathy that you need to have for people and that understanding. And I've been able to carry that from me and my clients to now me and my agents, because my agents are my clients.
Oh man, that's spectacular. Just one quick follow-up on that, if you don't mind. You talk to agents, and one thing I love about you is you have that empathy and you also have emotional intelligence, EQ, right? And that's important nowadays because people show up to the broker room and you're talking to them, and what you just described, I call it displaced hostility. They might be upset about something that's entirely different in their life, or their stress level's so high and they come into the broker room and they're in a panic or they're frantic and you're trying to talk them down and relax them. But it's like, if you don't realize what you just said, if you don't have that emotional intelligence and because you've been in it, you know what it's like to have those demands put on you. That's a huge deal, man, because some people just want to be heard, just let them tell their story, right? And it's funny, when I was a broker for just a few short months, I'd say, what's going on? And it'd be like 10 minutes later, and they wouldn't even talk about the transaction. They would just, you know how it goes, Cathy, they go on and on and on and on. But you kind of have to let them have that space,
Yeah. And the other thing is I've been in the place where everything is riding on that transaction for the agent also. I've been in that space where if that deal falls through, I got to figure out where my mortgage payment is coming from that month. And I have to, we as a team, as a broker team, are often reminding ourselves, like, we don't know what's going on with that agent either. They come in and they're frustrated or they're mad or they're upset. And it could be that. It could be that if this doesn't close, there's going to be a real problem. And so we have to remember that as well, that like that displacement of those emotions altogether, it's probably not about us, but we do have a way to talk them down off the ledge, or at least the opportunity to try, by hearing them out, by listening to them, and then figuring out how we can best assist.
Yeah. And I think that kind of leads right into, this next question, talking about stress and all of these things that not only the clients and the agents go through also, but we've had a lot of changes in the last, 6 months to a year here in the real estate industry, right? The NAR settlement and whatnot. So what has that done? How is that different now as opposed to, a year ago before all of these changes were made? How is your day-to-day change now? And has that put a lot more stress on the agents? And, how does that look?
I don't think brokering has changed. There's always change in the industry. And as a broker, our job is to sift through all of that information and distill it down to figuring out what it is the agents need to learn about those changes. And so this last year, it was the NAR, the settlement, the changes in the buyer broker agreement. And we've spent a ton of time on training. But you go back to those years that we were talking about a few minutes ago, brokers were spending a ton of time training on REO properties and short sales. And so brokering itself hasn't changed. It's just maybe the topic of what we're teaching and training on and the challenges that the agents are facing with whatever's going on in the industry. So yeah, we've done a lot of training on buyer broker agreements and what that looks like, and maybe shifting the presentations and the dialogues that you have with your clients to adapt to the changes. But it doesn't really change brokering.
Yeah, and that makes sense too, because I mean, you're right. We did a whole lot of training, and really, when I was first starting out, this was kind of already at the forefront. People were already talking about it. We were already kind of being trained on doing the buyer broker agreement. So I kind of feel a little bit blessed that I didn't really even know what it was like beforehand, having to do all that stuff. So it wasn't too big of a change for me. But yeah, we definitely did do a lot of training, and I know personally felt pretty confident coming out of all that, because you guys, the broker team, EXP, put on so much training to kind of go over, hey, what are the new actions, the new rules, what do we got to follow, the new forms and all that stuff. So it was all that training. It was helpful for sure.
Cathy, the Arizona market, I'd love to get your take on what's going to happen this year. And also, I'd like you to share a little bit about what separates EXP from the competition. We're in an industry where it's hyper competitive. There's people that are always trying to get recruited from one company to the next. And, let's take, if everything else is being equal, and let's say you have two agents that have equal skill set and equal grit, and they're both, working hard, why are so many people coming over to EXP? What's the secret sauce over there? Why do we continue to grow while other companies, quite honestly, many are not?
If you have an opportunity to see any of the presentations or events or any place where any of our senior level leadership is speaking, I think the answer to that question becomes clear. And they are very, very specific about what EXP as a company is trying to do. This is where the pros go to grow. We provide the platform for agents to succeed. We want to make sure that you're compliant, that you're legal, that you stay out of trouble, and then we want to get out of your way and make sure that we set you up for success. And our leadership, our senior level leadership, has also been in the trenches. They've also been agents. And that makes a huge difference, because when they talk about being agent centric, they know what agents need. And that maybe is a little bit of a difference between us and some other companies. So when they work very specifically to make this a company where agents can succeed, and it grows organically by that, because agents see what's going on. Like, wow, this is a company that's really just giving us a platform to springboard from and to become successful. So hopefully that answers that question.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on that, we're a cloud brokerage. And right now, the biggest segment of growth in real estate is in the cloud brokerage space. We're the only company that's a productive and publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. So what's life like in an e-cloud company like EXP versus traditional real estate? It's very different, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think I said rocket ship. I think it's very fast moving, and EXP's done a great job of being on the leading edge of all of these changes over the last year. They saw it coming. We were talking about it before it happened. We were getting ready for these things before announcements were made, because we could see it coming, and they were paying attention and already starting to implement some of those changes that we knew were going to come. So not only do we have leaders who've been in the trenches, we have amazing business minds as well. And the combination of that in our leadership is magic.
Yeah, and the last thing on that is, and I used to be kind of a skeptic when I came over, because, you and I have built companies on culture. We believe in it. I'm 1000% all about culture. I forgot who said it, but culture eats strategy for breakfast. And so I've built companies on that alone. So I was like, how are we going to get culture at a cloud-based real estate company? And what I've found, I'd love to hear what you think. I actually feel like I know a lot more people now across the country. And when I see them in person, it's like a family reunion to me. It's very special. So I've had no problems developing culture with people. It's just I see people a lot more online, than I used to. But I also am not going around the valley spending a ton of gas money and going to meetings across the valley. It's saved me a lot of money, and I'm a lot more efficient in my business.
Right. And I think, we all as a society kind of learned to do this virtual thing because we had to during the COVID epidemic. Eh, EXP was already doing it. We already had it perfected. Um, and we really have all of these avenues for people to connect. And like you said, you're not driving across town to go to a meeting. It saves time, it saves money, it saves gas. And we can get more people involved more simply because they don't have to come to us. We do have in-person events. We do have live opportunities to see people face to face, not on a Zoom call. But the cloud-based brokerage allows us to reach a lot more people a lot more efficiently and for them to reach us. And I know one of the things that we hear over and over and over again, when people are coming to us from another brokerage and that other brokerage is trying to keep them and say, no, you don't want to go there. You'll never talk to a broker. They're just not even there. Like they don't even have an office. How are you ever going to get a hold of anybody? And agents come to us and go, I can't believe the level of support that I get here. Like it is light years above what I had anywhere else. I come in here, somebody's always available. I call, they pick up the phone or they call me right back. I email, they get right back to me. And again, I think that goes back to what I was talking about earlier. The brokers are here to broker. We don't have to do all that other stuff to keep the business running because that's another part of the company. Somebody else is doing that. So it really does allow us to be accessible and available to help our agents.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll second that also because obviously I've only been here at EXP, but I do know that being able to just hop on at any time, pretty much, anytime during the day, you don't have to actually go into an office. You can just hop on online in the world, EXP world, and talk to a broker right then within, I don't think I've ever waited more than 5 minutes to talk to somebody and get my question answered. It's huge. It's huge. So that's very beneficial. And then you mentioned, kind of business minds and, being business savvy. Cathy, for people this year, not only agents, but just business people in general, what advice would you give those people to really catapult their business this year? What things should they be focused on? Any certain strategies they need to be taking on this year to really grow their business?
I think, and this is something that I'm really working on this year too, is we all need to minimize the distractions. We need to turn off the noise. There's so much noise and you can't really affect it. You can't change it. There's no point in pouring a lot of energy into that. If you pour that same amount of energy into growing yourself and doing the things you need to do to grow your business, instead of being distracted, instead of getting involved in all of that, make your own noise, really make your own noise. Go do what you need to do to build the business. And for me, my personal type of business was always about relationships. You have to generate business some way. And if you are doing internet leads or you're doing door knocking or you're doing calls or you're just generating business through your sphere, no matter what, you still have to do that. So turn off the noise, turn off the distractions and do those things that are going to build your business and go have conversations with people. Talk to people. You can't succeed in this business if you don't get out and talk to people. And
Right.
Chase, I think both of you are good at that. Chase, the first time I met you in person, you were holding an open house and just the most friendly, gregarious, great smile. Hey, how's it going? I think you didn't know for sure who I was when I walked in.
That's for sure.
But you got it nailed. Like you're just approachable and you're friendly and you engage with people. And being able to do that will help you succeed here. And I would venture to say in pretty much any business, you probably have to be able to engage with people. And Jeff, would you agree?
Oh, yeah. And I'm so proud of having Chase as a business partner. I remember when he first did his first few open houses and I said, okay, now you got to start doing videos when you're out there. And I remember the first video he did, he's like, so this is the kitchen. And this is the living room. And here we are in this master bathroom or primary bathroom. And I was like, okay, we need to work a little bit on the videos. But now he's getting like 1,000 views on his open houses because everybody kind of knows that Chase is going to do an open house this weekend. It's just known, right? And where is Chase this week? You know?
Yeah.
But it's like I could go on and on about this topic. One time a good mentor of mine said, visibility is more important than ability. And when he said that, I was like, ooh. And you know what? It kind of is true, because you can be the sharpest tool in the shed. You can be an amazing agent. You can know everything about the contract, but if you have no clients, you're going to starve. So you have to work on both of those skill sets all the time, the compliance, the administrative side of the business, and the lead generation side. And I always tell everybody, you can't even think of yourself as a real estate agent. You have to think of yourself as a lead generator. You're out there to build networks. You're out there to nurture people. People are like, oh, I don't like the word lead generation, Jeff. I hate it. I'm like, well, why don't you just reframe the whole thing? Reframe it and call it that you're loving people every day, right? So when I get into my calls, I honestly believe in my heart that I'm loving people and I'm trying to shine a light on their life, and I'm not attached to the outcome. Right? Whatever happens, I'm not attached to it. What I am attached to is giving value and helping them with their life. And it could be nothing to do with real estate at times. But if we do that, if we focus on that relationship, the real estate transactions come.
Mm-hmm.
They just come.
100%. 100%.
The last thing I wanted to ask you one quick thing I wanted to mention on the cloud-based service level agreements. And I know that Glenn, our founder, really runs the company, and Leo runs the company, our CEO, a lot on service level agreements. And I know when an agent goes into the actual broker room, a lot of people don't realize this, but the brokers get measured on that time, right? It's kind of like, it reminds me when my daughter worked at Dairy Queen when she was a teenager. They had a digital clock on the wall on how quickly that they would get the food out to the customer. And isn't it true that there's metrics in our company that actually measure when an agent comes into the broker room and how quickly that issue is resolved?
Absolutely. So there's metrics on how quickly they get helped on the floor, how quickly their emails are answered, and how quickly they get answered when they call. So yeah, it's a fine line to walk, because when we're sitting with somebody, we want to give them our full undivided attention. We want to be sure that they understand. I don't want to just say, this is the answer, thanks for popping in. I want to be sure the agent understands it, because then the next time that comes up, they'll already know the answer, because I showed them how to find it. I showed them how to understand it. But that takes a little longer. And so if we're in a situation where, it's a busy time and there's a lot of agents who happen to need help, all around the same time, we want to be able to give them our undivided attention. And we also don't want agents sitting there waiting. So I think that's the beautiful thing about our team, and the fact that there are a few of us. We can pull somebody in and say, hey, I'm going to be a minute. Can you grab that agent that's waiting? We don't want them to sit there for, much longer. They've already been in there for 5 minutes or whatever. Somebody grab them. But you compare that to a brick and mortar type office where somebody might go in to see the broker. And I was never in an office where you could just walk in and within 5 minutes be assured that you'd be sitting with a broker. No office that I worked in before. You had maybe had to make an appointment. You might have to wait. I think we're pretty accessible, and we try to be pretty accessible. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, that's something that's super important to our leadership, is that we are providing 100% stellar customer service to our agents.
I actually counted the number of ways that people can get a hold of you. A lot of people don't realize there's actually 5. We have things like the broker room. We have EXP Work Chat. We have the hotline we could call. There's several different ways. So if anybody ever says, I don't know how to get a hold of a broker, I'm like, okay, we need to talk. There's plenty of different ways. But
yeah, and then some people have like the bat phone, the red phone that they know. Like that's the back line.
Exactly. When agents ask me, what are the things I should be looking for when I affiliate with a broker? These are the things I usually tell them. I say, number one, you want a company that's going to be around in 10 years. Okay. And EXP has completely managed our money so flawlessly. And we have a very good operating account. And we're doing quite well in that fashion. So are they going to be around? What's the leadership like? We talked about that, how our leadership has been in the trenches. They've been career-oriented agents, which is great. They know what our lives are like. Broker competency, kind of important. When you're in a bad place, you need to be able to know your broker's competent. The last thing, though, I want to talk about quickly is our training. Okay, and this is one of the biggest things why people come to EXP. For example, right now we have a free training class called FastCap. And many other companies charge for training such as this. And the latest statistic on FastCap, it's a 6-week program. And by the way, some of these FastCap cohorts that we've established are focused towards part-time agents. In fact, I think EXP is a great option for part-time agents because part-time agents have access to technology. When Cathy has a broker meeting, it's taped. They can watch it later. But these FastCap cohorts, we're running 1,000 people through these classes at one time, and the average agent is actually writing 5.9 agreements, according to our CEO, who announced it a few days ago, in that 6-week period. 5.9 appointments, 3.9 written agreements. That is fantastic in a 6-week period to go from not knowing much at all, being a brand new agent. Many of these are new agents, and then writing 3.9 written agreements, whether it's a listing agreement or a buyer broker agreement. That's legit.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Jeff, you and I have done new agent training programs, and we've coached new agents. And I mean, I've told agents that want to come into this business, be prepared to, have 6 months in savings, because it takes a while. It can take a while to build a business. And now you look at this program that EXP is running, and in 6 weeks, you've got agents who are generating 4 deals in that first 6 weeks. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that is. And just on the training, I mean, that was one of the biggest things I think for myself personally is being able to come in here, soak all that up, train. And it's super helpful having access to that, right? I mean, even just our CRG group, I feel like I harp on it all the time, but it's like we have these weekly trainings that people can plug into. It's free. And I mean, you can't, it's there for you if you plug into it, right? You obviously got to plug into it. No one's going to force you to do anything in this business. You have to basically want it yourself, but it's there for you. And EXP provides that, which is solid.
Yeah, absolutely. On many levels. And that's just it. I mean, I think if you took advantage of all the training EXP has, you'd never do anything else but be in training, because there's that much.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, right? Yeah. You can definitely overtrain and not actually be out there implementing.
You gotta go implement. Yeah, for sure.
It's a fine line. So what projects this year, Cathy, get you excited? What do you got happening this year? Any new, as we're coming up on the home stretch here, tell us about some things that got you excited for this upcoming year.
Yeah. So here's one of my big goals for this year. I really want to build on the reputation of EXP agents in the marketplace. I came from a place where when agents would submit an offer on a listing, the agent on the other side would go, "Oh, it's one of those agents. This is going to be an amazing transaction. These folks know what they're doing. They're great to work with." I want that for EXP agents in Arizona. So the broker team has developed a plan for 2025. We're calling it Rise 2025, and that's about all I can tell you because it is being released. But we have taken our training to another level. Rather than just train kind of at this level, we have 4 different tracks of training that we're doing. So there's the brand new, there's the, okay, I've kind of got the basics, I need the next level. There's the one-off type, okay, I've never done this kind of transaction and now I'm in it and I don't know what to do. So there's that type of training. And then there's the business development. So 4 different tracks that we're doing. That's part of it. The other thing that I really, really want is for our agents to be visible doing things in the community. And they probably already are, but we don't know about it. So I want to know about it. I want agents to tell us what they're doing. And then when other agents see that and see what's going on and see that that's actually really beneficial to your business, to be engaged in your community and out there doing good things, that's important to me. So I want to pull all of these things together and really, really, really build on that reputation of EXP agents in the marketplace. And I don't just make a decision that I'm going to, do something and then have it get done. I got to jump in and lead on that. So I just took on a huge, massive project this last week. And I tend to do things like, oh, this will be fine. It'll be easy. And then I realize, oh my gosh, this was way bigger than I thought it was going to be. But we collected donations for those families that were impacted by the fires in California, specifically those in the Altadena and Pasadena area that were impacted by the Eaton fire. we filled a semi truck with essentials for these people. Diapers, baby food, toiletries, content. I mean, you name it, pet food, pet supplies, filled a truck and sent it on its way to California. The trailer was picked up this morning and it is on its way to a distribution site in Pasadena. It's amazing to be able to do something like that and to be a part of it. And that fills my tank. But it's good for us to do these things. And I want to know what other agents out there are doing so that we can highlight that and really be visible to the community that EXP agents give back and change the perception that some of the public has that all agents do is open a door and then they get a huge check for it, because that's not what realtors do. Realtors help people, and we are part of our communities. And so that's kind of, that's my goal for 2025. And that's what gets me excited.
All it takes is one person with a good idea and to act on that idea. And look what happened. And we're not talking about a small truck here. We're talking about an 18-wheeler.
It was a huge truck. It was a bigger truck than I thought we were going to get. But we had an amazing donation from a friend and client of mine, Beacons Moving Systems. They donated the truck. They let us have the trailer for a week to fill it up. They've donated the driver, and they are getting that truck to California for us. And so that came from one phone call. I just said, hey, do you think you could help us with this? And they did. And then he helped us get boxes and tape and get the stuff from the other distribution site over. And so if you ask, people want to help. And we can do so much if we come together and make a difference. And that's part of my foundational belief in life, is that that's what we're here for, is to make a difference.
Yep. And you live it. And when you made that decision to do that, I remember the first couple days, it was very slow. Not a lot of people coming, but you didn't give up on it. You kept on hammering the phones. You were hammering social media. You got the word out. Before you know it, a news crew is out there. And look what happened. I mean, I am so excited. I wish I could see the faces of the people that receive some of that stuff. I think that would be just so fulfilling. But I'm very proud of you for that. And you spearheaded that. And we came together as a community. It was amazing.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And so that type of stuff, and it doesn't have to be on a big scale. It doesn't have to be huge like that. Agents are out there every day doing great things for their community. I want to see it. I want to know about it, and I want to highlight it. So that will encourage more agents to do similar types of things.
Wow. So today we got to meet Cathy Swann, one of the best and brightest real estate brokers in the nation, and she runs the whole EXP Arizona enterprise. And we are so grateful you're here. And Cathy, we're going to give you the last word. Is there anything else you want to share before we sign off today?
I don't know. I think we covered quite a bit. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you so much for what you've done, Jeff, Chase. I love the organization that you've built and the support that you pour into your people. And I'm excited to be in business with both of you guys. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or if you need help with anything, let me know. I'm here to help.
Well, I appreciate that, Cathy, because I'll be seeing you in that broker room.
Yeah, we got your number,
to it.
Oh my gosh. And so friends, we just want to thank you for your attention today. If you ever want to get a hold of myself or Chase, just go to my website, jeffsutherland.com. You can get a hold of us on this podcast. It's called The Jeff Sutherland Show. We'd be honored if you'd follow us. And between myself and Chase, I've sold well over 1,000 houses in my career with my new home background, brokering companies, selling real estate. We are the people that can help you with your real estate problems, and we can provide solutions. So I have a very big passion on helping agents win. So I'm also a coach. So anything you guys need out there, we'd be happy to help. We also offer a free comparative market assessment, no obligation. We just love to talk to our clients and let them know what we believe your house is worth, so we can help you with decisions you need to make. And we're just grateful. We're grateful to be here. And I just wish you the very best. And we're again very grateful for Cathy's guest appearance today. So thank you very much, Cathy. And we'll be seeing everybody real soon.